Let's rock.
All systems go.
This is Away from Voivod. Let's rock.
I sound a call every time I feel let me out of here.
How are you doing? Welcome to Let's Rock.
Oh, I'm great. Thank you for having me.
Oh, I'm very happy to have you. It's been a long time I've been wanting you guys on here.
Super.
Excellent. You know, I took a listen to the new album,
Yeah.
Symphonique,
Yep.
right? And it's coming out what, June
June 5th, I
June
believe.
June 4th or June 5th? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it sounds fantastic. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You must be
It was quite an achievement.
Well, that's what I was thinking. I mean, I go way back to the Metallica album with the symphony, and I always wondered what kind of work and how much time it must take to put something like this together.
Oh, it took a couple of years from the time that it first started with the Montreal Symphony Orchestra reaching out, and then we took a couple of years building that up until we finally played two shows in Montreal early last year in January. And then in last summer, we did the same thing with the Quebec City Symphony Orchestra, and that's where we recorded. The concert.
It sounds fantastic and it's great sound. Whose idea was this? And why didn't you do this years ago? It seems to fit so well and so perfectly with your music.
Yeah, it's true. It was a dream of ours to play with a symphony orchestra, and we were approached a couple of times, but it didn't work out. But it was it actually comes from there is a it's some sort of newspaper here called L'Itinéraire, and it's pe homeless people selling it on street corners. And I did an interview for that magazine, and the musician playing solo bassoon in the Montreal Symphony Orchestra, he saw that article and brought it to the direction of the Montreal Orchestra. And I came back from touring with Voivod, and there was a message on my answering machine saying that the Montreal Symphony Orchestra was looking for me. So it was very fantastic.
There's a huge parallel between classical music and heavy metal, I find.
Oh yeah. Even we got busted by the musicians from both orchestras because we picked the songs accordingly. Some from, let's say, Dimension Atros and Nothing Face, where we were listening to a lot of modern composers. So we have bits of Bartok, Shostakovich, Penderecki in there, and Stravinsky, and the members of the orchestras could, like, they could point that out. They were like, "Oh, this part is like the Riot of Springs," or yeah, it was pretty funny actually. And we really went for the songs that were more progressive rock oriented with many movements, so it could match properly with the orchestra. But we did pick Nuclear War from the first album, which was more on a trashy side, but it turned into this very scary military march with the orchestra. And of course, we wanted to try the Sid Barrett song Astronomie Dominée with the orchestra. It turned out fantastic and quite an experience, although a bit stressful for me as a drummer because if I miss one beat or one bar, the whole orchestra is lost. So I was very focused on all three shows we did.
Did you have some kind of click track or something to keep you in time? I mean,
No click track because again the songs have many movements, and it would have been very difficult to program everything. So we just went like we do usually live, except that there were some Chewy, the guitar player, was involved with the arranger Hugo Bégin, and he was like giving the arranger ideas like, oh, okay, let's say the band could stop there, the orchestra could keep going, and then Snake could sing with the orchestra. And on my end, I mainly told the arranger that I was aiming for something reminiscent of the early cyberpunk movies that influenced Voivod a lot, like Mad Max, Terminator, Blade Runner. And I also mentioned the old movies, Planet of the Apes, where they had some avant-garde music mixed in the soundtrack. And he got really excited and he really understood what we were aiming for because as soon as we got his first demos, I immediately felt like I was in a dystopian sci-fi movie. It's actually another dream of ours is to do a soundtrack for a movie one day. That'd be great.
I was actually, that's one of my later questions is
Mhm.
why haven't you taken, because your music is basically a huge concept and everything kind of ties together. Why hasn't there been a movie or some kind of, maybe I'm wrong, maybe there is a comic book or something that could follow the history of this universe?
Yeah, well, it would be great to have an animated movie. Um, but I've been busy on the road a lot and in studios with Voivod, and it's also a project that would cost a lot of money. We do have a documentary, We Are Connected, coming out soon about the whole history of Voivod with a lot of archives. Um, we have so many projects at once. We have a video game coming out as well called Nuclear Warrior, and the aesthetic and music is like end of 80s, early 90s video game style. And so the Voivod music is sort of turned into 8 or 16-bit music. And we just released also a huge book by Jeff Wagner, Always Moving, more than 500 pages about Voivod. And we have this upcoming tour in Europe in June, July, August, going back to USA in October. But between all of that, we are writing and recording a new album. And because of the busy schedule, we can only do 3 songs at a time. So it's moving forward, but this it's going to be for next year, I'm sure. In the meantime, there's the Symphonique album, and it's really cool because we're going to do the experience again in January next year in northern Quebec, where Voivod was formed in 1983 with the local orchestra. So hopefully we can take it a bit everywhere with the local orchestras. That's the way to do it. That the orchestras just need to rent the charts from the Montreal Symphony Orchestra, like the Quebec Symphony Orchestra did. So yeah, a lot of stuff on in the works.
Man, you never stop.
No, no, we don't want to stop, and we were forced to stop a couple of times in our career for unfortunate reasons, and every time I got really antsy to go basically I think the travels are became very addictive to me. I love traveling around the world and playing Voivod music in front of old friends, new friends, and their kids now. And so it's just very addictive. And I as long as in as we're in good shape, we can keep going.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. So you said 1983, so that's what, 43 years you've been doing this. Did you
Yeah.
imagine at the time that it could last 43 years?
No, not at all. It actually, when Warren Payne came out in '84, I was still going to university in science, and I didn't know if I was going to be a musician or uh, totally go into nuclear physics and anything like that. And um, so, but the Warren Payne album, I really thought I was gonna be in the band for a couple of years, and that was it. And but the first album came out at the right time. when what was going to become thrash metal was really exploding. And so it had a very good impact. And plus, we were on Metal Blade, and it was always already well established. So we immediately got a buzz and tons of letters in the PO box. So I thought, oh, maybe I can do that. And I ended up totally dedicating my life to it for 43 years now.
That's not a bad life.
That's a great life because I also do the art for the band, and when I'm not in the studio or touring, I'm at home doing art. So it's amazing because when I have time, I do that for other people as well. So um, it's yeah, it really it actually really saved me during the pandemic, where I published a couple of books, some sort of comic book, and then. I shipped it all around the planet, so it kept me going.
Wow. You really do never stop. You know, a couple things before we get in. I have a strange question. Well, I'll ask it now. Correct me if I'm wrong. Did I see you open for Rush in Montreal?
Yeah,
You
yeah. When we
okay?
did, yes, this one we opened for Rush at the Forum in 1990, and we opened for them in Toronto as well. A couple of shows. Yeah, it was really great. It was for the Nothing Face album. We had a great touring. We had great touring activities for Nothing Face, where we also went across USA and Canada with Faith No More and Soundgarden. So it was quite amazing. And but of course, the shows were Rush were just fantastic to us because they influenced the band so much. You know, they also had a drummer writing concepts, and it was pretty sci-fi. And they were heroes and super nice to us.
You know, I've interviewed a few people who have opened for Rush, and everyone says the same thing. Just great
Yeah,
guys, fantastic guys that are
yeah.
great to their guests.
Yes, they were fantastic. We had like when we got into the first show, we got backstage, and there was like a note signed by all the band members and a bottle of champagne, and we gave the note to Piggy, our guitar player of Dan, who was the major fan, and yeah, fantastic. We met them. And we were a bit silent because, what am I going to tell the professor, Neil Peart? And it was really amazing. Um, and I was a bit scared because I had seen Rush play in Montreal a few times, and they had openers that sometimes didn't match their music, their style, and they were booed off the stage. But so I was quite scared. But at all the shows when we played Astronomie Dominée by Pink Floyd, the crowd was roaring really loud and really happy. So fantastic moment. I will remember that all of my life.
Oh, that's fantastic. You know, the reason I couldn't remember is because I remember getting to that show late.
Hmm.
And I didn't know it's not like the internet was around, so I didn't know who was opening. I just knew I was going to see Rush. So I got there, probably 15, 20 minutes after you started. So I didn't see the beginning and the intro. But yeah, it was a great night. I remember that. 1990. What was
Yes,
that? Like Roll the Bones tour, maybe?
yes, exactly.
Was it?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah, what a
Oh no, it
great
was sorry. I think it was Presto. I think it was Presto.
Oh, okay, the giant bunnies.
Yes,
Yes,
exactly.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. I saw that. Yeah, for sure. Now a couple things that stood out on this album for you. One is uh the drum sound on this album is fantastic. It really cuts through the whole mix. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
The second thing is how exhausted are you and how hard is it on your body to play a show? What I think this was what, 75 minutes or so?
Yeah, about 73, I believe. Uh,
73.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
how hard is that on the body to play
Yeah,
that kind of drumming for a full night?
it's pretty demanding when we play headline sets. Festivals are easier, of course, because we will play 45 minutes or 60. But usually we play close to 90 minutes when we headline, and we tend not to take days off because it's too expensive. So we play shows back to back for weeks on end sometimes. So I really have to be careful. I have a series of exercises I do every day and before the show, and I don't party anymore. And try to exercise when I'm at home in Montreal. I use Bixi a lot. These bikes that you take from a station and put it back to another station around town.
Mhm.
So I registered to that. In the winter, I have a bike inside like the apartment, and I don't know how you call it for exercising.
Stationary bike.
Yes, I have
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
and but I would say that the main thing that keeps me in shape is the drums. I love giving it all on the drums, and plus, it's always been a presto for me with the political environment and geopolitical situation, and it's always been very helpful to for me to evacuate all of the anxiety through the drum kit. And it's one of the other reasons why I always go back to music every time we stop for a while.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Now, when you started, uh, thrash was not a real big thing. You mentioned that it was becoming big when you guys got going. So, who influenced you to play this way? I know
Oh,
Neil Peart must have, of course.
yes, yes. It's actually a whole bunch of things happening in the 70s that forged my style. I first started with Ringo Starr, and then I moved to Kiss, Alice Cooper, and then I discovered Deep Purple, Black Sabbath, Led Zeppelin. And then all through that, I was listening to a lot of prog rock because it was very big in the province of Quebec here. And then came punk rock, where I started playing the toms a lot, the Dam, the Pistols, Stranglers, but it's really when I heard it's the new wave of British heavy metal that really made me decide that I wanted to become a drummer maybe someday. And I saw Filthy Animal Taylor, Clive Burr. Um, all the Judas Priest material. I rehearsed that a lot in my parents' garage, and and then of course there were friends in northern Quebec where we formed a band that formed a band called Capitalist Alienation, and they were more like anarchist punk oriented, and they introduced me to GBH and Discharge, and I was blown away. And right after that, I discovered what we called alternative rock, Killing Joke, Bauhaus, The Cure, and then I had and industrial music. So it I sort of adapted to everything that came to my ears through the years, and I got some jazz chops from Magma, Van der Graaf Generator, Soft Machine. So I try to combine all of that really in my style.
That's very cool. Now, you named a whole bunch of different music genres. And I've seen many names for Voivod's music, like speed metal, thrash metal, prog thrash, I don't know, avant-garde, progressive metal. What do you call it? Or is it even important to have a name for it?
It's so hard. Sometimes we were called nuclear metal, and um, I haven't heard deco metal like Art Deco, and it's really funny. Uh, it's such a mix of all kind of different influences, and also we were listening to a lot of movie soundtracks, so The Shining and The Thing, and so we also included this suspense in our music as well, different dynamics. I mean, the root is definitely heavy metal, but Snake and I were always close to the punk scene, so it's pretty much punk metal, and but again, as we learned how to play over the years, we became more and more proggy. So It's really Voivod music
That's
in
it.
there.
That's
Yeah,
it. And that's
yeah.
why I was wondering, is it important to have a name or is it just it's Voivod?
Yeah, it's Voivod now, and the last few albums we went back to the prog rock style, and the last few albums are very intricate, and we won Junos for these albums, so it's giving us a lot of confidence as we are writing and recording now, and to make like experimental albums and. It's the album we are writing and recording is a concept album, and I think that the classical concerts sort of influenced us into writing something that will probably sound a bit like a soundtrack, hopefully, something like a long journey. We'll see.
What comes first, the music or the concept?
For this album, we sat down at Rocky's place, our bass player, and we made a template of 8 chapters, and then Snake took it from there. And so we're sort of building the whole thing all together as we move along now. But we haven't done that on every album. We did that for the Dimension Atlas album, Phobos, but usually it's sort of a basic concept. But now it's more like definite with the Kogel character coming back, and so we're having a good time. But it's a bit of a slow process. We want it to be perfect, so I would think that at the end of next year, maybe it's going to be ready. Hopefully.
Holy, you really do never stop.
No, no, we never stop. We love and we love it.
Isn't it amazing? You created this universe all those years ago and it's still coming back. Um,
Yeah.
I love bands that do that. You know, I was
Mm.
listening, I don't know if you know them, but I was listening to Coheed and Cambria the other day.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I
they're
love this
so
guy.
good. They have a similar kind of universe that they've invented and uh,
Yeah, it's funny because we right now we are more popular than ever, so we're really enjoying this momentum, and so I'm pretty sure we can keep going for a long while because we see a lot of young people into thrash metal these days and coming to the shows, and it's pretty fun to watch. And they know all the lyrics from all the periods of Voivod, and that we share stages with people. We toured a lot in the 80s with Testament, Exodus, Sepultura, Creator, and these guys are also more popular than ever, and so we're all amazed when we chat, and we think that because thrash metal talked a lot about the destruction of this planet, it's still very relevant. That's what we think. Mm.
I agree. I agree. Wow, it's so cool. Now you're going on tour
Yeah,
in Europe in June.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm
We actually start in Iceland. We've never been there to the Satan Fest, so it's exciting.
That's very cool. I'm very
Yeah.
jealous of Europe. They're getting all the tours now.
Yeah, it's there were a couple of times where the metal had a bit of a lower profile during the grunge years or the techno years or whatever, and but we were always relying on Europe. We always had a good audience there, played big festivals, and but I think that now in North America there are a couple of festivals. We just played Hell's Heroes. It was truly amazing, and so hopefully there'll be more festivals like in Europe across North America because it financially it helps the tours a lot because the underground clubs are not always financially viable. So if you can throw a festival there and there, that helps a lot.
Absolutely. And you will be coming back to Canada at some point doing some shows.
Yeah. Um, I don't know when at this point. It looks like it might be early next year that although I'm sorry, we were offered something across Canada in September, and it's looking like it might happen. And if it does, it's going to be a really great bill.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, remember Ottawa. You gotta stop by
Yeah.
Ottawa. Yeah. Um, okay, I have a couple rapid fire questions. Just real quick question, real quick answer.
Rapid fire. Pew 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 pew.
Um,
Okay.
here we go. Who are the other Canadian metal bands that you think of as the best in Canadian history?
Oh, Exciter, Anvil, for me, I just worship them, and I learned a lot from them. Of course, there are tons of metal bands from Canada. It's Canadian metal is very respected. It's always kind of technical, but these are my heroes for sure.
Excellent. What's one common misconception people have about metal musicians?
Well, there were a lot of people sort of made fun of metal kids when I was in high school, and but what they didn't know is we were all nerds into Dungeons and Dragons, and had very good scores in class.
Oh yeah, that's true, right? We did have not bad scores.
Yes.
Yeah, I would have thought, having done a bunch of interviews with guys, it's, when you see the image, you kind of get a little bit scared because they're so tough, but everybody that I've interviewed that's in a metal band is just the nicest person you could talk to.
Oh man, it's the just you just go to a metal show and you see how cool everybody is, and how everybody's protective of everybody, and it's a great scene.
It is, it really is. All
Yeah.
right, two more quick ones. What
Yeah.
music that you listen to might surprise people who follow Voivod?
Well, man, I listen everything from Bob Dylan to hip hop to, but people would probably be surprised that I really like soundtracks of 80s movies, even like 80s TV shows. Like I go to the main library in Montreal, and I borrow CDs that I don't know, and so these days I borrow stuff like the soundtrack of Miami Vice. And then
Ah,
it's like the songs are really catchy. And the next step, I think it will be the Top Gun soundtrack. So I like the pads, electronic pads. I
right.
love it. Yeah.
Well, the Top Gun soundtrack had the Steve Stevens song, the the top
Which
the Top Gun anthem.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
That's fantastic, that song.
Yes.
Okay, and so one more question. You're in Montreal,
Yeah.
right? Are you going to
Yes.
the Rush show in September?
If if we can, we have a few things planned right now, and it might be in conflict, but if I'm in town, I don't want to miss it.
It's pretty exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really exciting, and great choice of drummer, and it's really amazing what's happening, and I feel great for these guys.
She is really good, isn't she?
Yeah,
She's
amazing.
Yeah, their performance on the Junos was so fun to watch.
Yeah, actually, um, it's like, when it's Neil Peart or Terry Bozzio level. You need to rehearse so many hours a day to be able to come close to that. So, because people ask me, did you get the call? I was like, oh man, no, but even if I did, I don't think I could achieve that. I'm a punk drummer.
It's very, very intricate stuff for
Oh yeah,
sure.
yes.
Yeah, he was wonderful. And okay, one more question. Not a question, a comment. Please make it to Ottawa at some point. Please, please, please.
Yes, we try our best. We always have an amazing time then there from the first show with Celtic Frost at Roxanne, and I think
Oh
actually
my
Roxanne.
God, Roxanne's.
I think was Roxanne in Hall. I can't
Hull.
recall.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Roxanne was in Hull. Yeah.
yeah. We played there with Celtic Frost. Imagine.
Oh my God, that bar was tiny.
Oh yeah, very tiny.
God,
Yes.
you must have broken windows that night with the sound.
I remember at first the security people wanted the crowd to be seated at the tables, and it was not two songs, and the chairs were flying, and it was really funny.
Oh my God, that you just brought back crazy memories of, 18 years old going across the river to Hull because we could drink in Hull. It was 18
Oh,
and
that's right. That's right.
yeah. So yeah, we always used to go to the heavy metal bar. Oh, that's awesome. Fantastic. Hopefully it's a bigger show this time, a bigger place.
Yeah,
There's lots of places now.
I know, I know. I love Ottawa, and I had like lately at the Canadian History Museum. They had like my original painting, the cover of Dimension Hatros on display, and Snake's 80s costume, like the Mad Max costume with the spikes. They had that on display for a exhibition about pop music.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, I got to go check that out. Is it still there?
it just finished
Ah,
recently. Yeah.
okay. The
Yeah.
80s were crazy, weren't they?
Really, and crazy tours as well with Creator, Possessed, Celtic Frost, and many riots and yeah, crazy times. Very exciting. We were all in our early 20s, and like in the case of Sepultura or Creator, we barely spoke English at all. So it was funny communicating with each other.
Music is the universal language.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yes,
Absolutely. Perfect. Thank you so much for this. This has been so much fun. Um,
super.
and I'm glad that I remembered that Rush concert.
Oh yeah, great memories.
Oh man, I would love to
All
go
right.
back in time and see that again. Thank you so much. Best of luck in Europe. Good luck with the album, and hopefully see you in Ottawa at some point.
Thank you.
Excellent. Take care of
Thanks for
yourself.
thank you. Thanks for having me. Cheers.